Hi everyone, today I am bringing you the this and that tag. I forget who I was tagged by because I was tagged ages ago. But somebody tagged me to do this and I actually meant to do it during Vlogmas and then I kind of had other videos that I wanted to do, so I figured now would be a good time to do it. I know people say tag videos are really easy to do, but I actually find them really hard. This one has 11 questions and it's basically like two opposites, so like your longest book and your shortest book and like that kind of thing. So that's a lot of books that I have to go and track down on my shelves and pull out and make judgment calls on, and it's a lot of work, but I decided I wanted to do it. So the first question is, what is your oldest book and what is your newest book? So I have all my books piled beside me. My oldest book is this edition of The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is the edition that I grew up with. It is beautifully illustrated by Michael Haig. And apparently it's the 50th anniversary. I do also own this in hardback. When I was in New York City at a Neil Gaiman signing, weirdly enough, I found this edition in hardback and I picked it up because this one's quite tattered, but it's got beautiful color illustrations. I can pull it up. Like, just absolutely stunning. So I really love this. I've held on to this, and this is like one of the only books from my childhood that I still have. The newest book that I have is There Once Lived a Woman Who Tried to Kill Her Neighbor's Baby, Scary Fairy Tales by Ludmila, and I'm gonna butcher this, Petrushevskia. Every time I try and pronounce that, I butcher it. I almost shouldn't have bought this book because I knew I was going to butcher it. I bought this on like Christmas Eve because I was just feeling like I wasn't going to get a lot of books. I have a lot of books on their way to me, so this just happens to be the one that came in the post most recently because of like post-Christmas spending of gift cards and stuff like that. So I have a ton of books on my way to, the way to me, but this is the one that happened to be here. So the next one is, which is your biggest book and which is your smallest books in terms of book size, not page length. So, my biggest book is this Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I have the special edition, which have the gilded edges. These are the only copies, physical copies of Harry Potter that I own at this point. I used to have them all in softback, all in regular first edition hardback, and then in these, and I just decided that I just wanted these, and then I also have ebook editions for when I actually want to read them. They're kind of a collector's thing for me. Yeah, this is like the heaviest book and the biggest in terms of size. It would have gone to War and Peace had War and Peace, my like copy of War and Peace, not been divided up into 3 volumes. I'm gonna set that down because it's really heavy. And then the smallest is The Unknown Unknown, Bookshops and the Delight of Not Getting What You Wanted by Mark Forsyth. This is actually just a short essay. This is also my shortest in terms of page length book, with only 26 pages. That was given out, I think it was like £2, on like the book night that they have in the UK, and I found it on Aid Books and I picked it up because I really wanted to read it. It was published by Icon Books, and like I don't think that they were supposed to be selling it online, but I'm really happy they did because World Book Night does not happen in Canada. So yeah. So this also leads into question number 3, which is your longest book that you own and your shortest book in terms of page length. This is definitely the shortest at 26 pages. And then the longest is Les Mis by Victor Hugo. I have it in the Penguin Clothbound Classics edition. I think it's over 1,000 pages. I'm guesstimating in this. Yeah, it's 1,231 pages. So it is rather massive. And yeah, I will eventually get around to reading this someday. I've seen the play and the movie multiple times. So I feel like there's no rush for me. But yeah, this is definitely the longest one. Next up, question number 4 is, what is your most expensive book and which was the best bargain? Which is the same book. And it is this box set of The Lord of the Rings. Something just fell behind me. But this was the most expensive. This was over $100. And I ended up getting dinged on customs, so I think I had to pay an extra like $40. So it was really expensive. But the reason why it's my best bargain is because it's now retailing like on Aid Books for about $1,000 for this set, and I absolutely love it. So It is definitely the best bargain in terms of what it is worth now to what I paid for it. But at the time I was like, how can I justify this? But I really wanted hardback editions of like the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So yeah, I got this a couple years ago and I'm really happy. So the next one is show us the most beautiful book cover on your shelves and which is the ugliest. So the most beautiful, I'm going to go with these ones. I'm not going to pull them out because they're kind of a pain. But as you can see, they do the Tree of Gondor. And I've shown these ones before. And I think that these are my absolute favorites that I have on my shelves. Like, it was really hard to pick because, as you guys know, I have a lot of pretty books. Actually, I'm going to set this down because it's really heavy. I have a lot of pretty books. I tend to buy the prettier editions. What can I say? I am a narcissist. I don't really see an issue with this because I do pick my books based on like content rather than looks, but I do factor in like if there's a choice between an ugly edition and a pretty edition, I'm gonna pick the pretty edition. Let's be entirely honest here. So for my ugliest book, that is The Little Friend by Donna Tartt. I haven't read this one yet. I have read Donna Tartt's other two works, The Goldfinch and The Secret History, and I'm looking forward to reading this. This is apparently her second published book. I thought it was her first for whatever reason, but yeah, this is just typical North American publishing disaster. It's shiny, it has weird creepy doll eyes on it, like it's ugly. It's not, like even the side, like it's just, it doesn't look particularly appealing on a shelf, like, I mostly get rid of really ugly books after I've read them, and like, if I really want to own the book, I will search down a prettier edition, but yeah. Question number 6, what is your favorite book and what is one that you've hated? Now, I can't pick a favorite book. It's like asking me to choose a favorite child if I had children. My books are my children, but my favorite one is Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. I have it in this beautiful vintage edition. I absolutely love these editions. Yeah, it's just, it's a wonderful story. I reread it every year. The Hobbit, also wonderful. But yeah, I was already talking about Lord of the Rings, so I was like, I will do Pride and Prejudice. And then a book that I hated, now I don't hate this anymore, but I hated it when I first read it, and that is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I don't really keep a lot of books that I hate, so yeah, I just grabbed this one because I did hate it. I still don't love it, but I don't hate it anymore, but I did. Oh, when I read this in high school, it was awful. Worst English teachers ever at my high school, so yeah. Did not enjoy that. So another one, question number 7 is name a book that made you cry and one that made you laugh. So one that made me cry, I don't know whether or not I actually cried in it, but it's super depressing. And that is Tess of the Dubervilles by Thomas Hardy. If you know anything about Thomas Hardy, he's one of the most depressing writers, but also fantastic. I absolutely love Thomas Hardy and I love Tess. I'm seeing some Josie hairs on this. But yeah, so this is really sad. It's just, it's not a cheerful tale. I mean, Thomas Hardy is not really cheerful, so as one does. And one that made me laugh, which might come as a surprise, is Moby Dick by Herman Melville. This book is hilarious. It is, there's so much humor in it. I mean, yes, it's scary because it's really long. I think it's like 500 pages or something like that. It's not that long. 600. Over 600. Not the longest book, but there are chapters that are really dry and really boring, in which they're talking about whales, and they're talking about, like, basically the science of whales, which is now all wrong, except for the part about, I discovered when reading this, that narwhal horns are actually a tooth, and they come out of the left side of their mouth. So fun little fact that I learned from this book, but it is absolutely hilarious. So if you're looking for a good comedic read, I would definitely recommend Moby Dick. I thought that this one would be kind of a little bit fun because it's not one that you would expect to be humorous. And then question number 8, name a book that warmed your heart and one that made you shiver. So the one that warmed my heart will come as a surprise to no one, and that is The Tenant of Wildfall Hall by Anne Bronte. I absolutely love this. I preach repeatedly about how much I love Anne Bronte and how Anne Bronte is the best Bronte. So yeah, Not gonna say too much more about that, but it is a really lovely, heartwarming tale, and it's fantastic. And if you like Jane Austen, check out Anne Bronte. If you haven't checked out Anne Bronte yet, what are you waiting for? Go read Anne Bronte. She's the best Bronte. And the one that chilled me is The Dumb House by John Burnside, which will come as a surprise to no one, because I've been talking about this book pretty much as soon as I read it. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely bone-chillingly horrifying, because you end up identifying with the narrator and you don't want to identify with the narrator, but yeah. And then question number 9 is one book you can't wait to read and one you've been putting off. I'm gonna try not to drop these. They're like scooching away from me. I think I just kicked my tripod, but I'm gonna live with it. So one I can't wait to read is Nathaniel Hawthorne's The Marble Fawn. I picked this up pretty much as soon as I saw Jean Holland, and she talked about how Sonnet at Books and Quills talked about this and how it's kind of like the secret history, so I immediately went out and bought it, and I really want to read it, but I have so much on my like TBR at the moment. There's so many books and so little time, but I want to get to this year. I'm determined. At some point this year I will get to it. And one that I've been putting off is Shirley Jackson's The Sundial. The reason I've been putting this off is this is my last full-length Shirley Jackson novel, and I don't want it to end. I don't want to end my love affair with Shirley Jackson, even though I know I can go back and reread them. I don't want it to end. I just love Shirley Jackson so much, so I'm putting it off. I may get to it this year. I probably will get to it this year, but it's just one of those things where you're like, I just don't want to be done. So question number 10 is recommend a book you want more people to read and one that wasn't as good as expected. So the one I want everyone to read is Villette by Charlotte Bronte. This will come as no surprise if you are familiar with this channel at all. I adore Charlotte Bronte, particularly Villette. Jane Eyre doesn't even hold a dim light in comparison to how fantastic Villette is, in my opinion. I know a lot of people prefer Jane Eyre, but I prefer Lucy Snow as a narrator. She's unreliable. She knows she's unreliable. She lets the reader know she's unreliable, and it's just absolutely fantastic. So I would recommend this. I think more people need to read this. Also, Anne Bronte falls into this, but I was already mentioning her. So the one that I was disappointed is The Woman in Black by Susan Hill. Yes, Susan Hill. I was just double checking. I read this at the end of the last year, and meh, like it was alright. It was typical like 80s kind of trashy gothic pseudo-Victorian literature, I guess. But I expected more from it. You know, as one does. So question number 11 is name the next book you want to buy and the next one you're planning on getting rid of from your shelves. So one of the books that I'm planning on getting rid of, and there's a reason for it, and I had to like move the pile of books to get it out, is Wuthering Heights. I like this edition. It's rather pretty, but they are coming out with the vintage editions that I have the Jane Austens in for The Tenant of Wildfell Hall, Jane Eyre, and Wuthering Heights. So I would prefer those editions. I think they're much more readable. They're much less heavy. Like, this is really heavy for the size of it. So yeah, I think I'm gonna get rid of this, donate it, and pick up that copy. I know that seems a bit frivolous, but I don't know, this is just okay. It's not anything amazing, and I really like the cover designs, the new VMC ones. And the next book I want to buy, well, let me tell you, I have like 30 books coming on their way to me by the end of this month, so I am not going to buy any more books. You will have to watch my post-Christmas haul to see what I bought, because I have bought way too many books after Christmas, and I need a break from buying books. I need to like stop myself. There are just so many things that I want and that I feel like I need and that I have managed to convince myself to buy after Christmas. To be fair, the majority of the books that I bought were through gift card, so I don't feel guilty about that at all. And I did buy a few, like 8 books the other day, because I just had surgery this week. Well, I guess it'll be last week by the time this is going up. but they were all really cheap, guys. I fell into the trap of Amazon Marketplace, and that was really dangerous of me. So I didn't spend a lot of money, but I bought a lot of books. So you guys will just have to wait for the haul to see that. But that was the this and that tag. I'm not tagging anybody specific, but if you feel like doing it, this is me tagging you. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head that hasn't done this tag yet, so I tag everyone. And I will see you guys with another video. Bye.